Instead of working on the issues raised. Nangu umuntu busy uyokuvakashela uBudzungu ebest ePimville. Kamva indlu esingayazi efihlwe yihlahla inside iRondavel. Emgodini inside that Rondavel. So that when you can be handled for daring imagine you're gonna leave a dude that's still in love with you and he's not prepared to let you go, even though you ought to be feeling like but I'm tired of living this life, getting harder to justify, realize that I just don't love you, not like I bazokubeka i-duct tape ngenkani. O tla tlogela go bina girl, you will quit the choir wa nkutlwa ba tlo ntsha di-pipes tsa gago ba di beye mo saeteng ba re today o tshwere ke di-tonsils ha o sa tlo ntsha sefela I know to ala o ngazonkeng because nna ke le ko Rondaveleng ya ko morago gwa ntlo ya ko besta e morago gwa difate ke tseba motho. Next thing you are to be trying to leave a relationship and you can't because a dude ukuvimbenge bheka mina phela futhi ukuvimbenge don't go nowhere else. Ukuvimbenga you're not gonna lala with another guy. Yeah, but just vimbaring you with all different kinds of things. Next thing, even though lo muntu is 10,000 steps behind you and you gotta take out lobola for yourself low key because you're the one here that actually wants to finalize this thing into a marriage. Ooh, ozopatala half your own lobola because you're the one here that's the top earner. Yeah, you gonna walk down the aisle to a man like that. Which was at last, come on. My love has come along, and my lonely days are over. Hey, I know we're not grand, and life is like a song. Oh, yeah. At last, speaking of Saka, since initially 2 centimeters in my the skies above are blue, and my heart is wrapped up in clover. Lanza says the next, the night I looked at you. Oh shame, when about Onyala out here borderling sebaka sene still to this day ga so itukisi. I found a dream. Wena mo lenyalong la hao that I could speak to. Wahlanya Gelzina. A dream that I can call my own. I girl, you're not serious. I found a thrill to press my cheek to. How serious girl? Montako maron tita half lobola. A dream that I have never known. Oh yeah, when you smile. Oh, seriously, girl, you smile. Oh, and then exactly the spell was cast. And here we are in heaven. Girl. So you are his at last. You are JB romanticizing Chibuku. Korobela, stokfele le sport. Montako o go tsentse something. O go jisetsa mabese le tsokere. Le tswai, pipiri, met the spice something. O di kentse ka fa hara borotho ba gago girl. Aba re haniki sales kaftini this morning how I am sebetsing on our first week back home from honeymoon. And you are to be on some, okay baby, I love you. And then 5 years into the relationship after your second pregnancy, there goes the cold front. Cold front. For you are mine at last. Anti-climax. Ke mo cold front tswang go Cape Town. E tlile go Johannesburg. It came from far away, but nonetheless, Khwabata Mojosi. That's what's good. Segiyabanda manje, so no more PDAs, no more public display of affection. Now you are just roommate. Top of that, aseke ho khalla koliki kingi. Haseke ho wishta hore jabunele the one. Haseke adultery ke inge. Hey, oh you are mad. Ubatung. The Lord spared me from adultery. I'm telling you now. Me, I was going to cheat on that guy. I was going to cheat. And because I was an independent woman, I was going to divorce him and then leave him for the man with whom I am cheating. I am not even lying to you. But then I got born again. Hallelujah. I just sounding like a mosque. That's one's good. Like, I got born again, and that's the reason why today I am not an adulteress, because I would have been one with that guy. So get love what's up with in one last time. Is your mama the lover of your daddy for real? And is your daddy the lover of your mama for real? Because if not, you are a mistaken amber baby. You are chippies, you bubblegum. Coop, next thing, throw you in the dustbin. You are fluke babies. You have been made between men and women. And I shall admit that potentially me too. Yeah, that RJ in these streets would never have married each other if it was not for spiritual manipulation. Like, I thoroughly believe that. Boloi, buko, zitoro eke totseng na ore nka khutlela morao ko di 80s mara is not gonna make a difference because kimo malumo wa ka o na tswetse dinako tseo o na tswetse vele to be young in the 80s, and from what I saw in my dream, apparently allegedly him and some other psychopathic rando. That's what's good. One and the same thing, birds of a feather, they flock together. I told you that snap from Facebook. In my dream, it'd be Audrey transforming, morphing, like as in metamorphosis, from a little worm, silkworm, to a butterfly. Yeah. It went and morphed into my uncle and his whole fam. I was like, because I didn't know what to say. I was choking and I was losing my cool. I was losing my cool to a point of feeling all sad because I was like, Lord, it's a cycle of psychosis. This here thing that's going on in these streets, it's a cycle of psychosis. It is a cycle of psychosis, and if it has been happening, never mind since the days of my uncle, but probably even before then, beyond that, how much longer are you going to linger in this? How much longer are you going to just take it in your stride? How much longer are you just going to keep on watching the chaos on the ground with people not really falling in love, or falling in love but falling out of love, and being perfectly able to leave in advance before they could get married, nonetheless being made to marry people that they did not sign up for? When is this going to end? This dude from MTN that turned out to be quite the prolific Satanist. Yeah, he morphed into my uncle in my dream on Facebook, and then I got to see my whole uncle's life with Banabahai. Everything, like, but young kids though. Like, it's like my cousins were still young in Dinepetsena. They were like 7, 8, 11 type setup thing, like quite young. And he was actually, what do you call this thing? Posing, lay my aunt. And I was like, God, if you are comparing this dude to my uncle, what are you saying? What are you saying? He's basically telling me it's a cesspool of violence in the black community, and it keeps on repeating itself. My uncle is not the best of men, okay? His character leaves a lot to be desired, coupled with the fact that Banaba Haiba inherited Boloi Bateng. Okay? Coupled with the fact that Umfaz Wakona are very dependent on him entirely and cannot move left or right without him. Therefore, he's made to look very important and patriarchal. Top of that, my uncle has ruined quite a few people's lives, Kadiklar. But he's not the only one. Basically, the whole sibling set, my whole family, but God showed me my uncle because he's a man that has been given honor and respect in society, albeit really not earning it. And he's the only example that could be used. And he compared this dude, Oloko MTN, to my uncle. And I was like, oh, so are you telling me that My aunt was not first price for my uncle, because the woman that dude married is not first price for him. I am. But guess what? He passed me up for no other reason than, listen to this, I lost a job. Unali busy dilly-dallying around me. The two of us were flirting, and then I lost my job. I got suspended, and then he was like, that everybody's out turning their back against. So he was a fair weather rando that would have been basically the bane of my existence anyway. I dodged a bullet. And he is wreaking havoc in my life to make sure that I don't get married. So if at all that guy is similar to my uncle, it means that my uncle went and took a wife. But the woman that he did love, that he passed up, probably today is either dead or she can't move left or right. Azanga nyala, azanga ba happy mo leratong, azanga thola bana. She just was made a wasted woman. God was showing me hore there's just a repeat of this stuff in households. Ke repeat nje. And indeed, just like all of our parents' households, Gyabanda nje, cold front, snow in Cape Town, next thing Joburg is out your gangster freezing for a whole week. The cold front, wankudra, either these women or men did at some point genuinely love Labantu, but then fell out of love, and then one of the parties was like, over my dead body, azohamba. Begamina pela oam, telling herself that she's going to basically protect or ensure her possessions. So njengoma so protector or ensure ama possessions wakhe. These possessions must now be held statue inside a marriage with a guy that she would have left and married someone else and likely been so happy that kids would know that mom and dad are in love. Mom and dad would be getting basically affection between parents shown to children. Mom being known as darling, sweetie, my love, baby, and not just lerato. Lerato. I mean, are you gonna tell me there was never a time when your dad called your mom baby? And yet, lerato, like there is not even a single grown-up nakohesu that I've ever heard get called baby. It's always been by their significant others. My uncle calls his wife by her name, and vice versa. I mean, how boring is that? And litenge, that can't be how it used to be. It can't be how it started. But that's what happens when you marry umuntu. Ongamthandi fandi one. That's not the real deal, the one. And that's also, like, you know, when you just accept the situation, like, it's just life. We're going through the modes, okay? At least we created a purpose. Our function on earth has been fulfilled. We came here to live, dance, digadara, get a little bit mature, marry, then have children. And then watch these children grow and get their own children, and so on and so forth. That's apparently what life is about. So insofar as you can do that, you then end up having a relatively decent friend around. Like, just a person with whom you're just tight. Like, you're always just around each other. You don't fight, you don't scratch each other's eyeballs out, and you sleep in the same bed, but you are not in love. You are not married. Your roommates that sleep in the same bed. Your roommates that sleep in the same bed. And the sorrowful thing about roommates sleeping in the same bed is that it's so easy to have an adulterous affair. Because at the end of the day, passions are passions are passions. At the end of the day, a crush is a crush is a crush. At the end of the day, the desire to be loved for women is still really strong. At the end of the day, what it is that is the outworking of your romantic inclination is always going to just resonate. It's always going to scream. It's always going to yell at you. So adultery, ipumagu, stuff like that. Adultery, I mean, look, men are ridiculous. They just keep cheating, etc. Baba jola inside marriages, inside long-term relationships, like they're in high school, some of them, right? But when then women are also having affairs like that, where it is that nabo bachencha my boyfriend nkarike jomo iskipa siya jomo isbalu 7 siyangaza wangibamba mahlombe wangibamba mafika wangibamba ma hips And then you move on to the next one and the next one. You know how it was in high school, eh? You be out here crushing on one dude at the beginning of the school year. By April, you got a crush on another dude. By September, it's somebody else. And then got December holiday, you visit your cousin called Limpopo and it's yet another guy. And then you come back home and then there's a new dude that's moved in 3 houses down, crush over there. In 1 year, you've committed adultery with the Hatangazutigaingaki when you're still a kid. But there comes a time when you settle down with one person and you're just so in love that you have literally eyes for no other. Women are like that. And when women find an anchor like that, if at all you don't mess with her, Shem, she's not going to leave you. She's not going to ogle her eyes around. This person looks like Brad Pitt back when he was still called Beverly Hills 91210. Because the thing that makes women tired of guys is just to sit around in a relationship gathering dust to juice a relationship just like I just did. Just draining out of a woman. And top of that, and this chick just gotta carry them around. Johannesburg to hook you up with my connections. But fighting fires, battles, ACV yako is fabricated, embellished. Gunama details therein. By CV, I mean koba tumbako habona. Your curriculum vitae koba tumbako habona. Your stats, essentially, go her family are beefed up. They fabricated information is out here, embellished, so as to make you look better than what you really are. So she will lie to her mom, she will lie to her sisters, she will lie to her cousins. In the beginning, just to protect. Does not make sense. He is not in my league. He does not make sense to be in my life. But your mom will end up liking him. Why? Because like I said, this chick is out here embellishing curriculum vitae of her men. She embellishes a curriculum vitae boyfriend and makes him look good until akwata. That's the disquieting thing about Abafazi. I used to have this friend. Okay, Wonkomuntu has betrayed me, so whatever. I'm ban your board. Okay? That's what's good. But back before things fell apart, which is why can this world just not end? Because literally I can think of better days. Because even the betrayal really is based on these kinds of issues. This cheeky was so overprotective over iskim sakhe abangani bakhe bo asa bo Karabo siyo. That's why today I cannot have lona hamba nyo board. That's a mo itelang kwara le watle le tota. I cannot have lona le tletse ka backstabbing le boloi. Mara, there was a time when it was better days, like I said. Onale very hyper, overprotective of Dimpinchizahaya, this cherry, this chicken, such that Messi Saba shakes out here looking like a leaf and everything. To tell her anything new that our boyfriends did is snacksy, because every time you would go to her and be like, oh John, ke so go mbora malobanyana sona wenze di dang di other and ke feeling ga re ke o 5 to out the door. You be telling this girl hore lo muntu lona ungborile doing ABC, and then she be like, yo, wait, wa bora hi marabanda bana ba tsena ke nka bona, etc. She will basically be there for you and pamper you and comfort you. Dare you, sister girl, 2 weeks later, go to the same chick and be like, John, give me bono tickets to Maloma Lady Chocolate. Okay, don't get Maloma Lady Chocolate. How? I'd like to go on some just like that. Utakona na motola. Utonto ka John. How's got them? Ubontonto tsa mo ka John le Maloma. Ke thing exactly. Wa tseba go ngwana lo ke rubbish. Wa tseba go mishimano ke rubbish. Gale kudu tsa go tsa mo dampa. Tswa mo yena because wa hopola go entseng last week una le amnesia ke bona taba ya hao. O ska tlotla mo nna mo next thing ha go entse ABC. Go ntse di singles tsa gago o tlhaile di bold patch mo go di matlhago tsa size ya 5 rand o botlong kopa hug hape because no ntse o le busy go tlhela morao le John wa go bora. Yo, this chick used to out here tell you where to get off if you went to her after complaining about your boyfriend, and then later went and told her about how awesome he is. The ebb and the flow, the ups and the downs, these inconsistencies in relationships. So we got to a point where we were like, okay, look, this is what's good. You either talk praises to this chick about your man or you speak smack, but you can't do both. Like, yeah. So you literally ended up not telling on your boyfriend because you wanted to stay with him. I get how like you go to every other friend of yours to talk about how it is that you found messages in his phone, or he stood you up, whatever might be the indiscretions that a guy can walk in. You will go and you tell everybody else that is happy to basically endure the yo-yo, the ebbs and the flow of a very turbulent ocean in which you are inside just a little canoe. that is called your relationship. Yeah, you're in a canoe in the middle of a very turbulent ocean. Yeah, these turbulent waters that you're in, there's only certain friends, other friends that you could go to. About the turbulence in your relationship, but this one, ufuna still waters or rough ones, but not both, because she could not handle the ambivalence. She spoke of us as just the namby-pamby randos that just need to know when to dump a guy and stay gone. Yeah, if you give her ambivalent information about some rando, okay, that's once good. Yeah, type establishment thing. That whole situation scenario ya chiquita wa go borega ka Jomo. Yeah, this chick, if at all you presented to her the fabricated version of your CV, of his CV, that's what's good. About to fitla like 2 days later, obo mofa the real deal of the curriculum vitae, mega chatting dabazako. And I now am there. Situation thing. I'm like that chick now, hey? Back in the day, fluffy, I was being kicked to and from by the turbulent waters of a relationship where today you're good with your man, the next day you're not so good with your man. The way that you so fabricate information about these boyfriends, go mahalona, so that they will embrace and approve them. Masegushubile manje. When it's time to ukdampa, otlo sotlega hore. Otlo sokola soki, weitsikenge. It'll be a trudge through some forest. It's going to be like trying to get out of a house if it's in gas smoke and you keep on inhaling carbon monoxide. Like it'll knock you unconscious before you get out, and then the fire will be what makes sure that your body is unrecognizable. Type establishment thing. It'll be hard to leave a guy. Guys, there is nothing worse than a family singing praises of a guy wailing rubbish. There is nothing worse than a family, and the way abazali babathanda ngakhona, the way ama cousins, the way family yakho, if you've been dating them for years ngakhona, the way your family ends up calling these guys abo mkhonyana ngakhona, precisely because of the fabrication. Hey, you be out here showing your mama side iling bugegeable of your boyfriend. Basa tsebe hore le side lena yona ke rubbish ke Freddy Krueger motho ona o tlo mmontsha le side lena fela for 4 years lentse le jola. Your parents, your family will be the last to know that okay, lo muntu lona krensha yang jonjele mali, this person is ridiculous in this capacity, because ke batho ba go heno batho ba mo rate. So how seba, how about how it is that this person ogenze dirty, you tend to go to abangani bakho. And back in the day, I had a friend who hated that ambivalence, right? Hated it. But women will rarely ever go to their families, abazali especially, and let them know of something horrific that a guy has done if they're still ambivalent about the relationship, if they're not sure if they want to get out, because they don't want to cause a hostility in the parents against this guy that is irrecoverable from, something that they can never ever get over. So you protect, essentially. That's what we do. We protect these guys to our parents, and then we tell our friends all their tall tales, such that by the time it's over, like Osoli here, and here, and here, and here, and everywhere else, like a little fish, you be Nemo, you are swimming, you are drowning in determination, essentially, to Pumalana, because the relationship is just literally that whack, it's inebriating. Okay, by the time you are here, bubbles, it's a fish, swimming. You have to write a dissertation, a thesis that is like a word engagaya textbook to try and create a case for, you might not even succeed, to create a case for why abazali bakho should now support you in the decision to leave. A guy that they were expecting is going to become umkhonyana wako. You have to write a dissertation. And if your argument is not sufficiently convincing, you will get told time and time again, Uguti, mara tshepang ke mokhonyane wa ka. Mara nna ke rata tshepang. Tshepang mara wa mo gopola hore na yentseng akere. E o nkenyeditse di kitchen cupboard tshepang. Tshepang ke nong tiletseng ke di kamore. Tshepang ke no kentseng paving, go driveway. Tshepang ke ena o na le teng ka lefu la butwa hao. Tshepang ke ena mara di memory tsa lona kaofela bathong di nempe tsela kaofela o tlo di lahla bathong Karabo. Tshepang ya ta neo ya yo shi ho jo mai ho a e ba so ho di wi a. Oh my goodness, she will end up sounding like she's speaking Chinese. Di batla go borang ka teng ka tshepang. Because you spent years building a case for tshepang, and then you hoped to in just the last 6 months of you being determined, making like sparkle with R. Kelly. When a woman's fed up, there ain't nothing you can do about it. When a woman's fed up, there ain't nothing you can do about it, and there's 2 ways to talk about it. Mara, that decision has been made in the last 6 months of a 7-year relationship. When I was on last thesis, 6 months after creating a very strong, positive net present value business case over 7 years. Yeah, this is what I expect to when you are trying to get out. Etc. That's why women end up dead at the hands of these violent guys, because parents keep on telling them hamba go back, hamba go back, hamba go back. Abo bhuti abo uncle wonke umuntu that these people hang out with baphuza le chipu kyabo bantse ba bloma bankandi nepe ba ku di jazz festivaleng ba sa paisane even though khona le dinyatsi ko teng. They're gonna be out here literally giving you a hard time for walking out of a relationship that did not make sense. I saw it happened with me. You get to a point where you're like done, and on to okay etsang mara ha hona auntie le uncle le cousin le brother from another mother, twice removed second step cousin that is not going to be like, no mara, you guys were in love, you guys were together for 5 years, you guys went they will end up speaking Chinese to you. It sounds like Chinese because hauna taba house by mara you will be made to second guess your decision because when you think about everything that basically you were endured through to get to that point, you are like, I'm sorry, but they will make you feeling that you've made the dangerous decision. You've made the wrong choice. You have set yourself up for romantic unsuccess. But hey, I've done my part. I've done my part. You will literally doubt yourself. And sometimes women be out here going back to filthy douchebags. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because they just can't take that. Aunties, I guess it's your choice, girl. You get to make it. After all, it's your life. It's your life like that. You know, that's sfatlhogonyana sa go ba sier. That's sfatlhogonyana sa go swaba because o batla go feel nkare go feelisa nkare wena kwena tshwantse o swabeng o swabe. You will go back to a dude that don't make no sense. Now it would take coming to the Lord Jesus Christ redemption to basically ignore indaba yokuthi abantu bakithi abantu bakibo ngithi nama friends, colleagues that had known me nsekibwa ka yena for years were telling me no matter why, no matter. Dude, did you listen? Because I get you write a dissertation, you write a whole thesis. Hey, buka ekana, textbook size, a word that you are hoping one day to peruse the annals of libraries. So the students is global. You are trying to become in and of yourself a theorist, okay? Yeah. And then beba go failisa. Thesis ya teng what's it in the last 6 months. Mara, it is so compelling. It is so convincing. Like the case for why you should leave this guy is so exculpatory. The evidence therein is just so incredibly voluminous. It's haughty. Get into the my guys. Like with me, I was like, like it's the 4th time that he's stolen money from me. The 1st time and the 2nd and the 3rd because I did not want you to think badly about him. I was stayed from reporting a case at the police by Mewahai. I nearly took him. Ampor nimboshisa. Kimboshiswa ne? Ampor kimonsharis. Mewateng angeng. Ariana ha batlo ngwana wa B2 ko tanyane. Ha batlo lo pesuka ngwana B2. And I took it. I didn't tell you this. Because I didn't want you to remember him that way, because at the time I wasn't sure if I was done. Negiso fancy. But these are the things that made me go basically on some pink chair that's very comfortable with a recliner at the back. and become a shrink and put this guy on that chair and talk about it. We spoke about it. I was like, look, you can't be doing stuff like that to me. I'm your lady. I'm your woman. How you gonna do that? And what's it? Never again. I'm sorry, ki moskisimo lifing. Hey, I was like, alright, sharp, whatever. At least now that's under the water, under the bridge. Yeah, water under the bridge. Yeah. Besia and 2 more times. And the time that it happened, it was the second time. Yeah. Anyway. So by the time that all these stats were out here piling up again to the heavens, like, it's a very strong business case. If a man is stealing money from you, what are you doing? What are you doing? Right? You would imagine. It's like uklapiwa, like when you get beaten by a dude and you go back, or a girlfriend, excuse girl. Kimaswabi. How mosadi where you have to go trudge through the forest of divorce. The prospect of it so much that you're like, okay, one last chance. If you hit me again, we're getting divorced. No. Umuntu I 5 finger on blue eye again and a little bit of a conjunctivitis pink eye situation. Your lip is out here busted. Unkadi nap. And then you make like Karabo mokwena and you go and you hang out masandila uzokbulal. Yeah. It's like a guy whamming you on the face and then you going back together with him because some aunt of yours was like, but it was a one-time offense. It's a one-time thing. This is only going to ramp up from there, right? Yeah, basically, a woman is actually making a sound decision to get out. But the guy weakens at Jennifer Hudson. I am telling you, Karabo, I'm not going. I'm not living without you. Because you my baby girl. No way. No, I'm living without you. And Karabo, sisters, need to you're gonna love me. You're gonna love me. No, actually I'm not. Love me. No, I'm not. Love me. No, gotta love me. I'm not going. Ka korobela. Ka bring back lost lover. Ka bheka mina kuphela. Ka woza. Until you sing at last, my love. You will walk down the aisle to a guy that you had to leave. So I mean, it makes sense that your marriages should be this cold front. Yabanda nje. 50-year-old man, 47-year-old woman, 60-year-old man, 55-year-old woman. Your kids know that their parents are together. They feel all chuffed that their parents never divorced. They're just going through the modes. I mean, they're not mean. They travel everywhere together. They go to family functions together. It's literally just formalities. Like, this is what married couples do. Mara baby ogasi wudwi. I guess you're not gonna see hand holding. You are not going to know that your parents are in love other than the indaba yoguti abazali benu. And they have made all of y'all. That's what happens in black marriages, because it's not like that in white marriages. It's not like that in Indian marriages. Akunjalo. White men be out calling their wives darling when they're like 70 and he is like 82. Like, it proper is like that. Do you understand what I'm saying? In the white community. And basically, India, across the board, husbands still calling their wives sweetie. You see it in malls. You see it in my school. When I was in high school, there was this married teacher pair. You see it everywhere. Except in the black community. Except in the black community, there are no displays of affection. Either tina sikwazi ukuthanda or something happens. Ke korobela ya lona ene ke yona ntho e ke tlileng mona ho bua ka yona hore nna kopa leng tloheleng. Ne ke batla lerato mara ha letle. And it's okay because lefatshe la fela, and I have to believe that la fela because I mina ngifuna ukuphila on this earth. I don't want to live here. I don't want to push this thing. I don't. Like, this cannot be 88 reasons why the rapture is happening in 1988, but instead of it being 88 reasons, it's 24 reasons why the rapture is happening in 2024, or 25 or 26 reasons why the rapture is happening in 2026. Like, it has to happen. But I just feel like it has to happen, because if it doesn't happen, am I going to be at the mercy of my uncle? Saying Musadi, that wasn't the first price. Mara, don't nobody know what happened to the woman in the first price. If at all, my uncle was compared in my dream. The same uncle of which recently did a spell to make sure anything must start cause I'm an embarrassment in the family. Because that's how I look isang din thing. Over like nye Musadi mo lenyalong la sala batling. And then make her chill in Jeffela Blomen like umfazi wakhona. Where it is that akanamsebenzi, so kwamela thathe yonke inyongo yale ndoda until everybody's so old that people think it's a successful marriage, only to realize ukuthi lo mfazi unama dark circles from taking rubbish from a man that she couldn't leave. Rubbish from a man that she could not leave. I'm sorry, Kimaswabi. This uncle of mine used to work with my ex-boyfriend at the company that they worked, and my ex-boyfriend used to tell me about his dalliances that he would see in the office. I don't know why this guy was brave enough to tell me that my uncle was cheating and not think that I'm going to go and tell my cousin. I didn't tell my cousin because I was a lost sinner at the time. But bottom line is he was cheating on his wife during the time when I was with my ex, with colleagues that I was aware that, with my ex's colleagues, with me being aware of that. I knew that this was happening. He would tell me that your uncle, we are Jola, in the office. So I mean, he has like Joe, like, hi, nah. When that's your linyalo, when you're married to and you just price, the only thing that is your price as a woman is that you're not among these statistics roaming around in these streets. There are single parents with men paying child maintenance and what have you. Kids going from house to house, visitation rights, or a blended family where it is like good divorce you, and then there's a remarriage. So musical chairs between different households. You pride yourself in under one umbrella. And they have no clue that there's like a violent amount of infidelity coupled with the fact that umfazi wakhona can't go anywhere. They've made me the kind of woman that can't go anywhere. Yes, like it, guys. They've made me mama kotiwa 1957 kawa. Yes, like ukdelela. Yeah, my kitchloka 1997 ele dangari. By bizang setup ele delela. Ele di cruspant. By aper. Bangtel. But long come sa do tlhalifileng ba moetse mosadi o dependent ko monna 100% be nna ke tlo cheatwa nna. Be cheated on, but have a guy just come home to me at least. Yeah. Kilonka anything fella of a rapacious rando in these streets. Into a greed nje. Engena maitseo. Nye chata. And be happy fella ka taba hore ke regte ke main chick. Ke msadi wa teng that he will never divorce. And he will never ever basically promise inyatsi divorce. Inyatsi yakhona iyatshela nokutshela ukuthi ngichatile, please. Don't disrespect me and my marriage, then I will take care of you and I will pay your rent. And then when we are all 78, abantwana bethu sebakhulile baphuma endlini, baya graduate, baya chata, bese uyothatha isithombe, family photo of you, your husband, your children and your grandchildren, basically crown of glory, when for 30 years you went through hell on earth under a man, like trudging through the streets of a worthless man. Do you understand what I'm saying? But you are holding the trophy of a silver anniversary and beyond. Because of rubbish. Saying that you could not leave. Because of guy. The audacity for people to make me umfazi. We apartheid. The audacity for people to make me musadi wa apartheid. Or musadi wa 1972. Or musadi wa 1954. Or musadi wa 1902. o tlonkang yoko ka fela ya monna o ti pridang fela ko taba ya hore at least o gutla ko ntlong ko nna. Like when you deliberately ignore ama lipstick stains on your husband's shirt because uzwenzani, at least ubuya game at the end of the day. Ulo ignore perfume engang, ulo ignore yo guys ke maswabi fitla gae ka dinako nte fela tsa sa etseng sense. But when your kids are out of home and they are just having their own children getting married, that becomes your crowning glory. Setse ke tsutsubantsitswe ke taba hore ke nyetse Satan ke maswabi. They took away my independence. Modern day women at least bona ba gona ho tswa hore ba ska tlo kra ngolaza. Back in the 80s, back in the 60s, back in the 50s, there weren't as many STDs. Now in 2024, every second ninja in these streets be out ekaflela eskatuleni sakho ngengolaza. Every second woman out with chlamydia. Every third female out slapping you with super gonorrhea. Gushubile ngaphandle ngala. Bese mina ngizothatha in my stride indoda that is just going to do that to me because I cannot next. Ke maswabi I ke tlo phela bophelo ba ka kaofela na on chronic medication. Ntse ke konya di antibiotics le di ARV. Ha ke tata mo be ke tlo di prada ka taba hore at least no longer is HIV a death sentence. I'm sorry. Ke maswabi. I'm not gonna just take rubbish in my stride, guys. Like you know, it literally cannot be the end. It cannot not be the end. Like this has to end. Like, are you seriously telling me, Uguti, we've got another 50 years? But all I know is that I saw this freak was a MTN morphing into my uncle, telling me that Ungetse some second woman that was not the primary one. And so therefore he will make the life of the primary one a living nightmare so he can comfortably raise his children and get old with the wife that was number 2 or 3 or 10, while claiming to be a great guy. God compared them together, and since Naketsaba Uncle Yaga go chore, yes, like it, I dodged a bullet, but did I really? I dodged a bullet because really, do you dodge a bullet when the freak that you were first prized to, but that he passed up, when then he makes a decision, then abago blogger, make sure next, out there in the community, he's respected. We are tanned. He's heralded. Umuntu thinks he's awesome. Ngwana ha utshwana le yena, di type tsa lawyer bophelo ba motho kaofela from left to right, dropping like dominoes gaga. Otola bophelo ba motho kaofela, and then you still go and you live a full thriving life such that the person o mo lweleng ha se tsa fufurile. All you can do is feel bad for Tabario. Ever since I cast that spell in 72, lo muntu ngimthakathile asoka papa. So unzomo beshe zakani 500 every so often, and you are content katabara everybody thinks ukuthi lo muntu uzimoshela impilo. You are content. My uncle has somebody in the family, a cousin of ours, that he did that to. But they used to have a salon together, the two of them. And the next thing, everything of this guy fell apart. But you see, the sad thing about that cousin, everything, is that he was irresponsible. He was into like random bookings, top of that, drugs, wada. So it looks like we sense it. Now, on the other hand, there is nothing of me. I am what they call above reproach. There is nothing about me. His daughter did to me what he did to that cousin of ours. That started out very successful and then lost everything later on. Now his daughter has done that to me, and they are struggling to basically conceal because I am such a good girl. I am above reproach. So now, in order to hide the piri, the very pet peeve of satanic demonic men that I want nothing to do with, the kinds of men that I would have somewhere along the way in a relationship with them, albeit having started out loving them, been like, la, 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 la. Baby, when I used to love you, it's nothing that I wouldn't do. Went through the fire for you, anything you ask me to, but I'm tired of living this lie. It's getting harder to justify. I realize that I just don't love you, not like I used to. Guys that I would have walked away from. Just like umfazi wakhona, umuntu that's just going to lean on a man for the rest of her life. Guys. Bansiwa. And the sad thing is, this thing of mine, should it result in suicide, they've got a contingency plan. But this could result in a suicide. But over their dead bodies before I will ever gain any kind of semblance of a life again, because they cannot afford for Istoro Samsu Upuma, because they stand to be disgraced. Angish. So bazi blame umawam. My mom is not the best of parents. Grandchef, she sucks. Like, yes, like, my mom is the worst. She has broken me. Mara, they want to lay all the blame on her. The potential for my suicide on her. Like, they're basically risking my life, knowing that this could result in me killing myself. Following which they then intend to humiliate my mom and say, "Oka tlogela ngwana hao hore a sotlege hakana." Ntate towe o no zama ho nyadisa monna o no tlo mpea slepe. Or monna o na tlo mfang ngolaza. Monna o ne tlo nne ke ntse ke dula ke ja ke nata di antibiotics cause something itchy down below e hlohlonyae. Tshwantse nna ke lo ifodisa ka di antibiotics cause this little bugger umfile chlamydia, umfile the clap, umfile gonorrhea, umfile trichomoniasis, umfile HPV, like a plethora of freaking STDs, a cocktail just in one damn sitting. Tshwantse ke lo nyala that thing. And if I ke batle ho nka something that's gonna do that to me, or a second wife, isitembu, just take whatever. If I don't want these rubbish marriages zenu where you end up with a roommate endling, if I don't take it, suicide ish, last resort, wish we didn't done it. This is gonna hurt, it's gonna pinch, but umma wakona is gonna take all the blame. Let's say about ne lawyer le fokotsegile le ntse le futhela balloon in the run up to le batla go foster long yala nta like a freaking tick mo miriring. Foster ke long yala nta. And then you're gonna go and grab the entire blame and put it on my mom. That's why ke khathetse kana man. Ke khathetse because I keep getting dreams where it is that uma wam uyahlaziwa ukushona kwami. Hey bandla we oh. She is not innocent, but she has not recently invested in witchcraft where I am concerned. Untlogetse fela. Hore ke merely gather dust. Batho ba ntse ba le busy kana. Ke banna ba bangata fela ba batlang ho nyarisa that wants to go and lay the blame on my mom, including my uncle. O tshwana le ngwana teng o tshwana le na ba le thunte fela ba tshwana ke di Satan. And from what the Lord showed me, o tlo thudiswa ke tshelo. Hore banna ba batletseng ka Satane ba tlo thudiswa ke mafu a bana ba bona ba di prized possession. My cousin Tuli Tillis, I told you she's gonna die in a car accident like Tuli Tillis around the Rosebank area, and that's going to make this man finally stop his crap. So Lena una le plague ya lifu etlang ko so I've been doing videos speaking about how it is that la matota lawa la bantu la bantse la busy ba lawyer left right and center ba sa batlo ngtlwela ba tlo handlwa either ke mafu a bona, their own deaths, or they're gonna lose children. Well, my uncle's gonna lose a kid. It's just that the first prophecy that I got was of this cousin of mine dying because she's the bane of my existence. Do you understand? But now I'm busy at dlala around my head. And on top of that, honali also a nuance to all of these dreams where it is that some of these men, and I'm about to explain that now. And all of this is adding together, culminating to basically getting to the point where the dominoes that are gonna drop are gonna now finally drop. And when then my cousin finally goes on the ground, it must be comprehended that it is both a combination of Busatane Bahai, Lintatwate. Because at the end of the day, the sins of the fathers will be visited to the third and the fourth generation. This here thing was supposed to be stopped by the dad. He was supposed to rebuke this behavior in his daughter, but he saw what his daughter did to me, that which he did to one of our cousins back in the day. So I stand up back. And now today, because like I said, unlike the other cousin, I can give drugs, I am above reproach, and my innocence here into Eshlazayo. So therefore, mara tshwantse nna ke lonka satanenyana ya ngolaza or satanenyana ya chlamydia or satanenyana ya albeit being with a clean bill of health on the date of our wedding. Somewhere along the way ke tlo ngwaya and I had to take antibiotics. Ke situation e ke leng mo yona eo ke South Africa ya lona. This world has to end, y'all. Like literally it cannot carry on like this. We can't. So I see my uncle morphing into this guy. No, this guy morphs into my uncle. So basically God is just showing me the nuances. It's just going to end up like your uncle. If this world continues for another 50 years, goodness gracious, can we afford to have these freaks just roaming these streets? Can we really afford to have men get old, raise daughters and sons that are going to become the banes of the existences of their cousins, of other people out there, that are going to human sacrifice yet more people out there in the streets like proper? The sins of the fathers being visited to the third and fourth generations. If at all that dude is like my uncle, he has got someone in his little cocktail of children that's going to one day lay waste and devastate bophelo ba somebody in his life, in her life. Just like my cousin had my uncle has a daughter. Onkile bophelo ba ka, a bo beya mo tlasa steamroller and then caused it to just walk. Caused it to just roll, drive, ride. One flat now, one empty shawatata, a perfectly viable woman. Wamlahlele strading. Because he did it once. So, rubbish munna. If he's got a son, that son is going to go and lay destitute some other woman's daughter out there in the future. Bana banang le 7 kajeko 6 12 are going to one day be such prolific devil worshippers that bazothatha impilo zama cousins wakhona that they grew up with tight and destroy them. Like daddy, like daughter. And if at all he's anything like my uncle from what the Lord showed me by Afana, he's gonna stand back and watch his son ruin the life of an innocent woman. Watch his daughter destroy the life of a cousin of hers. He is going to watch his children do exactly whatever creepy thing he is to other kids of the future. And if that all God is God, that baton cannot be proliferated. It's written in God's word that though the righteous man may fall 7 times, he gets up each time. But the wicked are suddenly overcome by calamity. Suddenly. So this can't continue. 88 reasons why the rapture should happen in 1988, to a point where I'm rocking disco gear. I wish I could go back to the 80s and live there as a young woman. But somebody was already imaginative that it's the end of the world in the 80s. The body of Christ throughout, ever since Christ basically got ascended into heaven, they've been saying it's the end, it's the end, it's the end. They have all believed that we are at the end of the world and that the Antichrist system is literally nearly around the corner. Despite there not being as many signs of the end that we are now dealing with, there was no digital currency, there's nothing, basically it's so, all the things, the stage is set now for everything that the Bible said the end is going to look like, but nonetheless Christians were able to somehow fathom how in their era, in the 16th century, in their era, in the 17th century, in their era, in the 1st century, in their era, in the 3rd century, in their era after death, in their era, in the 20th century, somehow 19th, 17th, 16th, somehow they were able to fathom it because the evil around them was that prevalent. It was that prevalent. So sometimes I feel like we've been feeling this way all this time. So maybe there's another 50 years coming. But if there is another 50 years coming, may the Lord take my life young. I mean, 40 is young, but it's not that young. I will have lived to some extent, only up until the age of 30, has some kind of a semblance of a life, following which I would have endured a whole decade of persecution. If at all this thing is still going to be going, and there's going to be somebody in 2069 out here wishing that they could have lived in 2024, my only prayer is that God would take my life before I am made to get old and really, really broken and devastated. Like, I'm already broken and devastated, but this is the kind of stuff that makes a person die from a broken heart. Like, South Africa is just freaking evil. It's diabolical, but I mean, it was super evil in the days of apartheid too. I mean, I don't know how anybody living under apartheid with all that violence, with all that apathy against your people group, with kids just dying in their numbers, struggle heroes, without you thinking, this is it. Like, whoever was Christian as a South African, especially if they were among the marginalized, ostracized groups that were persecuted and systematically oppressed, I don't see how any Christian living in that era would not imagine that they were in the end of days, and that, I mean, not necessarily that the apartheid regime was the Antichrist system, but, you know, the wars and the rumors of wars and civil unrest and nations rising up against nations and kingdoms against it. Basically, when you live in that kind of sorrow, you can think it's the end of the world. You will grab Bible prophecy to nicely fit into your narrative so that you can comfort yourself with the belief that Christ is coming any minute now, because why wouldn't he? Look around. The world has become this evil. But we lived to see a recovery, a revolution, a new democracy. We lived to be educated in Model C schools and get careers as black people and do whatever. Black, Indian, colored, basically the marginalized and oppressed groups. We were able to live to see Tyler, who in the days of apartheid would never have been what she is, right? Being a colored girl and everything. We got to live to see her be what she is now. So I do have that disillusionment, I'm not gonna lie. I do have the disillusionment of, is this just another oppressive season that is just gonna pass? Is it? But you see, apartheid was localized to South Africa, that's the thing. So too was perhaps the Second World War, localized to certain regions in the world. The Holocaust under Hitler was localized to certain regions in the world. Martin Luther was in England, localized there was the issue. The bubonic plague was a European issue, localized there only. Never in the world has this epidemic of wickedness been so global. I mean, guys, I am being afflicted perpetually by some idiot in America. He's in America and I'm in South Africa. I have got covens chilling in Europe and America focused on my case. I've got celebrities privy to my content because they belong to cults that are out here persecuting Christians on a global scale. Things are culminating in a way so as to suggest, okay, Karabo, very well you could believe that it's 24 reasons why the rapture is happening in 2024. But this time around, you don't have need to worry about the fact that every Christian ever since the history, not so much the history of Christians, you don't have to worry about the fact that many Christians, that every body of Christ conglomerate, pretty much since the death of Jesus and the resurrection and the ascension, has believed that this is the end of the world. There is a difference, and for the first time, Israel is restored to being a nation, and it's been a certain amount of years, coupled with the fact that calculably so and responsibly so the earth is 6,000 years old, and Christ has a thing about sevens, and the millennial reign is 1,000 years long. So therefore, seeing as we've already done 6,000, we can't possibly have that many more years left, because at the beginning of the 1,000th, the last remaining 1,000 years, we have to start ruling and reigning with Christ. There are some people who speculate that at the latest, the rapture can happen at the latest by 2026. If at all, the seven policy of God is a thing. If at all, this God who works with a Sabbath rest of the seventh day really truly is who he says he is, he cannot linger this another 50, 60, 1,000 years, because then he would overwhelm his own Sabbath. He would be out just striving and working in the Sabbath. The 1,000-year millennial reign of Jesus Christ is a representative, it is a typology of the Sabbath. It is the seventh day, it is God's rest. It is the righteous reign, the millennial reign of Jesus Christ, where there is no more striving, no more working like a dog by the sweat of your brow. It is a recovery, a restoration. So, I mean, the people who said 88 reasons why the rapture is happening in 1988, that author, he was not too off. Perhaps he was by, half a decade. Not half a decade, half a century, sorry. But things have indeed been that bad throughout the ages. That should tell you just how long-suffering God is. And about 2 nights ago, because I've been deliberately deciding not to upload content because I'm sick and tired, because I feel like I keep repeating myself, okay? I saw the casket of basically I saw the funeral of my cousin. I saw the whole funeral, Galegasi, everything up and down, Strata Sako Habona, where she stays in Soweto. Well, not she stays, but her parents. Yeah. Them out here mourning her death, but I was like, I warned you. And that death being a judgment on the dad and on Mwanade. Yeah, now Okodi Heleng that what is losing a kid because he was pompous. He was pompous. I saw that. And then, guys, Yazi, there's just so much going on. Like I said, I'm not really sure. I can sure. Guys, I'm 40, right? My peers are more or less my age, give or take, older by a couple of years, younger by a couple of years. At what age do you stop being all lovey-dovey, touchy-feely, kissy-dovey in marriages? When do you start to get bored with your spouses? Isn't it now?